You are listening to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. I'm Dr. Deb Butler, and this is episode 285. Welcome to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. If you're a woman and you're smart and you're successful and you've been struggling with weight your whole life, and now menopause is making it harder than ever, and you are ready to make this the last time you ever have to go on a diet again, then this podcast is for you. Stay tuned. Hello, all my dear friends. How are you today? I've got some really great news that I want to talk to you about today, because I've gotten a lot of letters from you. So last week or 2 weeks ago, I did an interview with Marie, and she was from the last group that I had done, which ended probably last May. Anywho, I am getting ready to open up another group, which is what I was talking about when I was letting you listen to our interview with Marie. I talked about that a new group was opening soon, and I got a lot of letters from you going, "Oh, I want to be in it. I want to be in it." So here's what I got for you. If you want to be in my group and you're interested, I now have a sign-up list, even though it's not ready yet, but you can sign up so you'll be the first to hear about it, and you can be the first to sign up so you can get it before it sells out. So if you're interested in doing my next group, and let me tell you something about this group program, because I'm in the final phases of designing and creating it. It is going to be amazing. And I'll tell you what's going to be amazing about it right now is it is my signature program that I use with all my private clients, but I am slanting it all towards the holidays because I am going to do this program with those of you who are brave enough all through the holiday season to the end of January. So for those of you who do not like setting New Year's resolutions, I have an idea for you. Let's just start sooner. And by the time January ends, you will be where you want to be with no resolution. You'll just be there when it comes to you, your body, your weight, and your brain. Now, if that sounds interesting to you, I find that when people go on holidays or when they have celebrations, I have found over the years that those are their best learning experiences on how to become free from food. Because most people want to be free. They want to be free from food, and they want to believe that they can control themselves around any food and that they can trust themselves. So I can't think of a better time to do it than the holiday season when there's 3 holidays at least. Let's just use them. That you actually could become stronger during this season, have more fun during this season, feel more free during this season, and end up in January where you've always wanted to be. So if that sounds good to you, you can go to drdebbutler.com/group, and you can be the first to find out about everything that's going to be happening. I'll probably be opening it up in 3 to 4 weeks. And those of you who sign up now, you will hear about it first and have the first opportunity to sign up for it. So you go to drdebbutler.com/group. Now, this will always also be in my show notes. So you can go to drdebbutler.com/285, and you can find it there. Okay, so that's pretty exciting news right there. But I also got something else for you. Last week, I talked to you about that I was going to have the most valuable podcast. And last week, I did the most downloaded podcast. And this week, I'm going to do the second most downloaded podcast. So we're going to call it MVP2. And this is all about how to achieve permanent weight loss in menopause. And I think the reason that it's most downloaded is because I probably give the best tips that I think I've come up with, because I just re-listened to it and I think like, I am brilliant. That was so good. So for those of you, the reason that I'm doing this little series, these MVP series, is for those of you who are either coming in, like maybe this is your first podcast, or maybe you've only heard a couple, or maybe you came in the middle, or maybe I know there's some of you that are diehards that had started from the very, very beginning. But for those of you who haven't, this podcast that I'm going to play today is what has helped people the most out of all 285 of my podcasts. Now, I also want to mention that if you haven't heard very many of these podcasts, I would absolutely first listen to the first 4 podcasts, no matter what, because that's where I kind of set up the basics for a lot of the things that I do. And it really hasn't changed much over time. So I would do that first. And then I would make sure that you listen to this podcast, which is the second most downloaded podcast, all about permanent weight loss and menopause. So, I'm going to ask you to do today as I get ready to leave is sit back, relax, take a walk, and listen to the brilliance of Dr. Deb Butler on how to achieve permanent weight loss and menopause. Enjoy. Hi, everybody. How are all my dear friends today? The thousands and thousands and thousands of you. I cannot believe how many people I'm talking to right now. It blows my mind because I'm just sitting here talking to the trees and there's a lot of you listening. So it's so much fun to think about it. And I guess more than anything, since I've gotten so many letters and I've worked with so many of you as clients, and have seen your lives change so much that I guess I just feel like it's a privilege that I sit here every week and get to talk to the trees via you. And it really is a privilege. And today, what I really want to talk to you about is what I've been seeing a lot in my clients. And you know that I end every single podcast with the same thing for 183 episodes, which is please, please, please be very, very kind to yourself. And I want to talk about that even more today because you know what? I say it a lot. And the more I talk to you, the more I hear that you just don't know how to do it. Because every single one of you that I talk to, and most of my clients that I work with, especially in the beginning, are tyrants. I mean, seriously, terrible the way you talk to yourself. And you all wonder why you feel so bad. And you think that the reason that you feel so bad is because of the number on the scale or the weight on your body or whatever it is that you're putting in your mouth. But the real reason that you feel so bad is because of the way that you talk to yourself. And listen, when you're talking to yourself, all you're doing is thinking, and thinking are thoughts. So when you're talking to yourself, you're just telling yourself your thoughts. And you know what? Your thoughts are not very nice. And I just don't think, even though I've talked and talked and talked about it, I just don't think that you realize that the reason that you feel so bad is because of how you're talking to yourself. And that if you could change the way you talk to yourself, you could change how you feel, which would make it so much easier to have a better relationship with food because you would stop using it to make yourself feel better. You can make yourself feel better. And I want to give you a couple cases of my clients because I think it's really important that you hear some of these stories a little bit so that you can understand how important it is to be kind to yourself. And by being kind to yourself, all I mean is talking nicely to yourself, allowing yourself to feel negative emotions and being your own best friend with those negative emotions. It's like patting yourself on the back, hugging yourself, telling yourself it's okay, sweetheart. It's like what you would do for somebody that you love the most. All I'm asking is that you do that for yourself. And you know what I know for sure? It's a foreign concept. And even though I talk about it a lot, and even though I know you know that you need it, you still don't know how to do it. So I want to give you a couple ideas in this podcast of how you can do it based on a couple of my clients so that it may help you. And I'm also going to give you a link at the end of this show so that you can get a worksheet that I use with my clients to help with creating self-kindness. So here's what happened. I have one client, and I'm not going to go into all things because number one, it's very, very private when people talk to me. But I want to give you the basic scenario. For the first couple sessions when we were talking, basically all she kept telling me is how she couldn't do this. And she kept telling me that especially when she was doing her food journals, and she was doing her food journals, she was doing them every day. That's really all I was asking her to do was just to do them, show them to me, show me her physical hunger scale. And when we would get on the phone, she would be so quiet and so upset because she did not like what she saw on her food journals and she wasn't losing any weight. And so she kept telling me, I'm never going to be able to do this. I don't know what's wrong with me. I've never been able to do this before. You know what I'm talking about? You guys talk like this to yourself? I think you do. This is how she was for 2 whole sessions. It's like I was really helping her manage her mind, and she could not see that she was not reporting the news. She could not see that these were just thoughts that she was thinking about herself. She thought she was telling herself the truth, that she couldn't do it, that she's never been able to do it. And now that she's looking at her food journal, she knows for sure that she'll never be able to do it. And she's gotten on the scale and she hasn't lost any weight and she's never going to be able to lose weight. That is called being mean to yourself. That is not kind. This is what she was doing, and she was wondering why she was feeling so terrible. And this is what's funny. What she would say to me at the end, she says, you know what? I feel so much lighter now. And I would go, why? And she goes, because I talked to you. She would give me all the credit, of course. But really what happened is she started feeling better because she started thinking better thoughts, right? Because I've been coaching her. So by the end, she was managing her mind a little bit and questioning some of these terrible thoughts that she was thinking. So the first couple sessions, I was teaching her a little bit about how you're kind to yourself. The way you're kind to yourself is you look at what you're saying, and if it's making you feel terrible, it's a good hint that it's not nice. So anyway, I get an email from her maybe a couple days ago, and I think we've had like 4 sessions now. And she writes this email to me because this is what I want to impart to you today. I'm going to give you a worksheet at the end of this podcast today called the Primary Question Worksheet. And basically what it is you need to think about a question that you can ask yourself every day that is going to promote positive answers. And when you read this worksheet, you'll see how to do it because it's just step by step, question by question. But this is what I wanted her to do. I wanted her to fill out this primary question worksheet. And what I wanted her to do, what we came up with, the question that she was going to ask herself every day was, how can I be more kind to myself? She was going to wake up every day and she was going to give her brain something to think about. Because you know what her brain thinks about every morning is, I'm not going to be able to do this. I've never been able to do it before. This is so hard. I'm doing it wrong. I'm never going to lose weight. Why is this happening to me? That's where she was. That might be where you are every morning when you wake up. So I want to give your brain a new job. I want to give it a question where it will seek positive answers for you because our brains are amazing. You need to give it a job. Otherwise, its job is to keep you scared, freaked out, and in the cave for the rest of your life. Have you noticed? Okay. So with my client, that's how we ended that session is for now on, every morning when you wake up, you're going to ask yourself, how can I be more kind to myself? So I get a letter from her maybe a couple days later, and she says, oh my gosh, I've had an aha moment. And basically she went into that when she asked herself that question, the answer that came up for her is that she was going to stop shaming and punishing herself. That's how she was going to be more kind. And then she recognized an incident that happened in her life not too long ago where she was constantly going back to it and shaming herself about it.
And when she started asking herself the question, how can I be more kind to myself today? And the answer was by not shaming yourself. This incident came up, and then she decided that she was going to stop telling herself terrible things about what happened. And she was going to start saying, it's okay, sweetheart. You can go on. You don't have to keep making yourself feel ashamed. It's okay. And she was amazed. It was a long email. She was amazed. She's decided her whole life has changed just because of that one question. And do you think that it's going to be easier around food for her? I guarantee you it's going to, because you know what? She's going to ask herself, how can she be kinder to herself today? And she's going to stop shaming herself when she does something she doesn't like, right? When something happens and you don't like what you've done, you do not have to create shame off of it. You can give yourself a pass. You can show yourself compassion. You can tell yourself, sweetheart, you've done this for 30 years. It's going to take a while. You can do that. So that's what I want to tell you about this, because that's what she did. And that's what happened when her brain started looking for something different. Now, I want to give you another example of another one of my clients. I just started with a new client a couple days ago, and she had such a hard time signing up to work with me. She really wanted to. She's from London. She's far away. And she had all of these things that she didn't think that she could spend the money on herself, and that she felt guilty about spending the money on herself when she should be spending it on her family, even though she knew she had the money. This is what she's telling me. I just don't think I can do it for myself. I should be spending it somewhere else. And I spent a little bit of time with her on this, and even had an extra call because she couldn't push the PayPal button. And I could see that there was so much torment in her mind of how she was just punishing herself and saying, you've never been able to do this before. You're not worth it. You're just going to screw up. You can't spend this money. And you know what happened? I got to tell you this, because you will not believe it. This is the best, because usually I've told you guys before that a lot of times when I do mini sessions with women, many times they'll say, oh, I really, really want to do it, but I need to talk to my husband first. And like I tell you, usually that means no. And most women don't know how to say, I don't know. I don't think I can spend that much money on myself. I think I've been a failure for so long that that's a lot of money to invest in myself if it's not going to work. They already start saying such terrible things to themselves that they fail before they even start, right? So they say they have to talk to their husband. And I totally get that you have to talk to your husband sometimes if you're going to spend a lot of money. But many, many times, that's not really the reason, is really what I'm telling you. So the story that I'm telling you here is fascinating. So this person who is not my client yet, who has a hard time wanting to invest the money, wanting to push the button, knowing that she needs me desperately, quote unquote. Finally, after we talk, within 2 seconds, I get her PayPal link that she signed up and that she paid for it. And it was really, really fast. And so I just sent her, wow, that was really fast. So when we're having our first session, which was just a couple days ago, she said, I know you emailed me and told me about how fast I sent the PayPal. Because another thing I just want to say about it, she said she didn't know how to use the PayPal and how it was going to work. She was just so confused. And it was really because she had such a hard time wanting to invest this money in herself. It was really all about that. But in the end, it came really fast after we talked. So she says to me on the call, I just want you to know that the reason that the PayPal link came so fast is because my husband did it for me. And I go, what do you mean? She says, he is so sick of listening to me bemoan and beat myself up. And I kept telling him that I know that this woman can help me, but I just don't think I can invest this much money in myself. I feel so guilty that he took the computer away from her and paid the PayPal link himself. It just cracked me up, because usually women use their husbands as the scapegoat of why they can't do it. And here she's telling me is he did it for me because he wants this. If he thinks that I think that you can help me, then he wants to help me do it. And I said to her, I go, you have learned a lot from your husband about self-kindness. And that's really what I want to tell you about, is that you've got to be able to learn how to be kind to yourself, because she was beating herself up so much. It's not that she didn't have the money. It's just that she didn't think she was worth it, and she was guilty, and she was doing all of this thing in her head that her husband just did it for her. And you know what? That says volumes for what I'm talking about here, is that the things that she told me that he says to her is, sweetheart, why do you keep beating yourself up? You're beautiful. Why can't you see your own beauty? Why do you keep doing this to yourself? He could see that. And that's how I want you to be able to help yourself, is to be that voice in your head. That if you are deciding that, yes, I want to invest in myself, that you can be the person that can say to yourself, sweetheart, I am willing to invest in you to help you get what you want. And that's what I was telling her, is you have learned a lot from your husband in terms of how to talk to yourself. Because when she got on the call, all she could keep saying to me is how desperate she was, and how what she ate last night, and how terrible she feels about it today. It was a constant beat up punishment session. And really, for the whole session, all I did was kept telling her to calm down. And I asked her how she would be treating her daughter if her daughter was saying all of this to her. And she told me what she would say, and it was so beautiful and so kind and so compassionate. And I said, you need that from you. You need to do that for you. And really, by the end of the call, she got it enough to calm down and feel better. Not because she was talking to me, but because she finally got her mind. She finally got her mind to calm down and say, it's okay, sweetheart. We can do this one step at a time. You are brilliant. You are magnificent, because she thinks she's brilliant and magnificent in other areas of her life, just not in this one. That's what she says. That's what a lot of you say. So it's like, I want you guys to start talking to yourself like this. It's like, hey, if you're brilliant and magnificent here, then it's just a thought away that you can do the same thing here, because somehow you're learning how to be kinder to yourself in some areas and not all areas. You don't have to beat yourself up to get good results. Honest to goodness, I'm not lying to you. You don't have to beat yourself up to get good results. Now, if you've heard a lot of my clients that I've interviewed, you have heard most of them say that one of the biggest things for them was learning how to be kind to themselves. And that's also what happened in the last coaching session that I did with a fellow listener of yours who had done all the work on her own, had lost the weight. And she said one of the biggest things for her was learning how to be kind to herself, to be able to see that if she overate the day before, she needed to learn how to be curious with herself so that she could find out what she did, not beat herself up, not make herself feel worse. You're already eating because you feel terrible. You're already eating for negative emotion. You think creating more negative emotion is going to help you eat less? No, it's not. So when I put the title here of the only solution to permanent weight loss, I am telling you the number one solution is learning how to calm down and start being kinder to yourself. It's the only solution. And I'm giving you these two scenarios because I want you to know that both of these women, as they start being kinder to themselves, are going to be kinder to what they put in their mouths. Because I'll tell you what, when you love something with all your heart, you want to be kind to them. And this is what my new client said to me when I talked to her. She says, oh, I get it. So actually, if I'm kind to myself, then giving myself more fuel food instead of bonbons is a much kinder thing to do. And I'm going, yes, sweetheart, that's what I'm talking about. The kinder you talk to yourself, the kinder you will be to yourself. It really works. I'm not kidding you. So this week, what I want you to do is I want you to download this primary question worksheet. And I want you to go through the exercise. And maybe you would like to borrow my primary question that I used for my 2 clients. How can I be more kind to myself? And see what your brain comes up with. Because if I'm correct, and I do believe I am, that the number one solution to your permanent weight loss is to learn how to be kind to yourself, then give your brain a job that's useful. Give your brain a job to figure out ways for you to be kinder to yourself. Now, before I leave today, I do want to talk to you about doing reviews on my podcast because I've got thousands of you listening to me and I don't have thousands of reviews. And there's only one reason for that. And you know what that reason is you. I don't know which one of you, but many of you are listening and enjoying and not reviewing or subscribing. So if I'm talking to you, please review this podcast if you love it. Please give it a 5-star rating if you love it, and subscribe if you haven't. Number one, if you subscribe, then it stays current and you can always get it really easily. And the way you subscribe is you just check subscribe when you go into podcasts. Now, I also want to tell you about how to review just in case you forgot. So if you want to review this podcast and you have an iPhone, because I have an iPhone, so it's important that I tell you how to do it because many of you say I don't know how to do it. And of course, once I tell you how to do it, it's so simple. So what you do if you would like to review my podcast because you're enjoying it and you're getting a lot out of it is I want you to go to the podcast icon on your iPhone. It's purple and it has a microphone in it. And that what I want you to do is I then want you to hit search at the bottom. And in search, then I want you to type out thinner, THINNER. And usually if you just put in thinner, it'll pop up thinner piece. Click on thinner piece and you'll see my picture pop up. And when my picture pops up, click on it. And then when you click on my picture, then you'll see how many reviews there are. And you will scroll down just a little bit under reviews. And then you will see write a review right under reviews. Click on write a review. It tells you very specifically how to do it. You can hit how many stars. And if you love it, please put 5. But also write a review why you love it. Number 1, it helps me. And number 2, it helps more people find the podcast. And the more people that find the podcast, the more people I can help. And that is really important to me. I mean, I'm talking to the trees right now. You know, I can't see you. So the way I find out how this is going, one of the ways is reading the reviews myself. So please do that for me if you're loving this. And I want to read you one of the reviews that I just got that is helpful to me and also tells me, Dr. Deb, carry on. Here's what she wrote. She says, it changed my life. There are many programs that claim to change your life. This one truly does. I spent years having a terrible dysfunctional relationship with food. I would cycle through starving myself, binging, hating myself, eating in secret, etc. After just a few weeks of listening to Dr. Deb's podcast, just about nonstop, I was totally changed. And 2 months later, I feel even stronger. Thank you, Deb, for your incredible dedication and generosity in sharing this information. I will be forever grateful. And this is from Karen. And all I want to say to you guys is that this is very inspirational to me when I read it. And it also lets me know I'm on the right path with what I'm talking about. And you know what? My job is to help you learn how to be kind to yourself more than anything else, right? That's how your life changes. Your life changes when you start feeling better. And you think feeling better is going to come from losing weight. And I am telling you, you're going to feel better when you start talking nicer to yourself. Those are your thoughts. So that's what I want you to practice this week. And you can download the worksheet at drdebbutler.com/question. And you'll also be able to get it in my show notes so that you can fill out the primary question worksheet, figure out what your primary question is going to be that's going to help your brain get you to where you want to go. And so, of course, before I end this podcast, there's only one other thing I could possibly want to say to you if I haven't said it enough already. And that is, no matter what else you do this week, please, please, please Be very, very kind to yourself, and I'll see you next week. If you're loving my podcast and you would like some more information to be able to follow along with, then please go to drdebbutler.com/change, and you can get a free copy of my companion book that goes with this podcast that I refer to in many different episodes. That is drdebbutler.com/change, CHANGE.